Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today I'm going to show you how to make a pear upside down cake. This could not be any easier. I've got some pears, they are in season right now. So if you don't have any, go out and grab you some and let's get started making our pear upside down cake. So I've got a 9-inch springform pan and I've cut a piece of parchment paper that I've got on the bottom of it. And I'm just going to take some of the cooking spray. You know, if you got some in the can, you can definitely use that. And I'm just going to spray the bottom of the pan, and that way that holds that paper down in place, just like that. And then I'm going to take some of my spray and spray it around on the top of the paper, and that will get that to hold that really nicely. And we're going to get started on our pears now. All right, I've got 4 pears here, and I've given these a good wash, and I'm going to go ahead and peel these. I'm going to cut the top off of them. You want the pears to be as firm as you can possibly get them, if you possibly can. That way they don't fall apart when you bake them in this cake today. So we're just going to cut the top and the bottom off, and I've got a vegetable peeler here, and you can use a knife if you want to, but this works really easily, and we're just going to go around, and I'm going to peel all of my pears here, and again, I've got 4 of them. Okay, I've got all of my pears peeled now, and now we're going to go ahead and cut these up. So I'm going to cut these down the middle. I'm going to take each one of them and we'll cut it right down the middle. And before I cut it again, I've got this tool that I use to cap strawberries and things with, but you can use it for this too. Just take it and run it down right into the side of that, and that will take that right out of there. You can also use your knife, but this works so well, and if you've got one of these, get it out and use it because this is a perfect time to do that. So now if there's anything left over, just take your knife and come back in and just kind of clean it up just a little bit. And I'm going to take this and go ahead and do the other side as well. Now that I've got that core removed from that pear, I'm going to go ahead and take it and cut it again right down the middle. And then I'm going to take it and cut it one more time down just like that. And then cut it again into another piece. So you should have 8 pieces total when you get through trimming up your pears there. And I'm going to go ahead and take this other side and we'll do the same thing with it. And we'll cut it down again. And then we'll take this other one and cut it just like that. Now you might need a few more or you might not need as many. Depending on how big the pears are, we're going to be lining the bottom of our springform pan here. So you might need a little bit more than 4, you might need a little bit less. So it depends on the size of the pears. So I'm going to work on these and I'll be right back. So let's talk about my springform pan. The one that I have here is a non-stick pan. If yours is not non-stick, you might want to put a little bit of butter on the sides of it as well. And you can definitely use butter in lieu of the spray if you don't have that. Definitely use the butter on that. It's perfectly fine. So before I cut my last of my pears up here, I've got a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. And I've made that, didn't have any in the house, but I've got a video on my channel where I show you how to make dark brown sugar. It's really easy to do. I'll put that link in the description box below. Go check that out. It's really fun to do if you've never seen how that works. So I've got a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar, and then I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and we're going to put that together just like that. And I've got 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and we're going to add that in just like that. And then you can take a little whisk or you can take your fingers and just go in and kind of just give that a little bit of mix through. And that's going to help everything as it cooks. You know what cornstarch does? It kind of thickens things up a little bit. So definitely the juice that's coming out of your pears would help be assisted by this cornstarch that you just put into this brown sugar. So we're going to do that just like that. Give that a good mix through until it's all incorporated. Now that I've got that all incorporated together, let's take our springform pan, and I've got 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and just going to kind of spread that around on the bottom just like that. Then I'll take my brown sugar and I'm just going to sprinkle that over the top of that butter evenly all the way around on the bottom. All right, now that I've got that on the bottom of my springform pan, I'm going to take some of my pears now, and I'm just going to go ahead and start taking those. So I've got the fatter end here. I'm going to put that toward the outside just like that, and I'm going to go around and we're just going to layer the bottom of your pan just like you would make if you were making a pineapple upside down cake. So let's go ahead and start with this. Like I said, this is the point where you're going to see if you're going to need any more pears or not. So I thought I would just do half of them and then come back and show you what we were going to do with it. That way you can always check to see if you're going to need some more pears as you're continuing to cut these up. I've got some more here on the side just in case I need some more. So definitely give that a check now and see where we're going to be. As you can see here with what I've got now, I've got almost 1 layer on the outside of it, and I've got some space here in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and cut up another one, and I'm going to continue to work on that and complete the layer at the bottom of my pan. All right, I've got the bottom of my pan lined now with my pears. You can see the kind of design that I've got here in the bottom. I've got 1 piece left out of my 3rd one, and I've got a whole 4th one here. I'm going to put some lemon on this and put this in a little baggie, and I'm going to have this for a snack tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready for our other ingredients, and I'll be back and we'll move on to the next step. So now that we've got our pear setting to the side, I've got my oven now preheating to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, or that's roughly around 150 degrees Celsius. Once we get this next step done, we'll be ready to put our cake into the oven. So now we're going to mix our dry ingredients together. And I've got a food processor here, and I've taken 1 cup of walnuts, and I've roasted those. And if you've never roasted walnuts before, I've got a video on my channel. Go check that out. I'll put the link in the description box below. It's really easy to do. So we're going to drop that into our food processor now. So this is 1 cup of roasted walnuts. And I've got a ½ cup of all-purpose flour, and we'll just add that in just like that. I've got a ½ teaspoon of salt, we'll add that in. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, we'll add that in, that's our leavener. And I've got 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda. Now let's put this on and give this a mix up until we get the consistency of our flour and we get those walnuts broken down into that flour and those other ingredients. All right, we've got that done now. I'm going to take this blade out for the safety factor of it, and I want to show you what that looked like. So you can see now that we've got those walnuts broken down into that flour and those other ingredients. So we've got our dry ingredients all done now. So I'm going to put that into this bowl over here that I've got. All right, for our next step now, I've got 1 cup of sugar. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my food processor. And I've got some eggs here that I've had sitting out at room temperature. I need 3 eggs, and I'm going to break these into this little container just to make sure we've got 3 good ones. So that's a good one there. We'll put that into our food processor, and I'll go ahead and do it with my other 2. All right, I've got my eggs and my sugar now. I'm going to give this a blend together, and we want that to blend together for about 2 minutes. All right, that's been 2 minutes now for our eggs and our sugar that we blended together with that. So now I've got a 1/4 cup of neutral vegetable oil, and I've got 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and we're going to put that into the top, and I'm going to turn this back on, and we're going to mix this together. All right, now that we've got that mixed together, let's go ahead and put our dry ingredients in, and we'll give that a little bit of a mix through. So just like with any other cake that you're making, you don't want to overmix the dry ingredients that you've got, because your cake will get really dense if you do that. So I'm going to set this to the side. Now that we've got that all blended together, I'm going to take my container off here and take the blade off. And I've got a spatula here, and just want to make sure they get all of that off of there. And you can take one look at it too and just make sure that everything got incorporated together, and you can see here mine did. So now we're just going to pour this over the top of our pears and our other ingredients we've got here. All of my cake ingredients are together now, so I'm going to take my springform pan, and I've got another baking sheet here. I'm going to put that right under the bottom of that, just like that. So a couple of my pears are poking out on the top. That's perfectly fine. If you want to shake it around, you can. It's going to rise up over it and cover those, so you're not going to have to worry about that. So now we're going to put that into that preheated oven, and we want this to cook between 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes. You definitely want to check on it, because everybody's oven is going to cook a little bit differently. You can take a skewer or a toothpick, and when the toothpick or the skewer comes out clean, you know your cake is done. So this will be a low and slow bake on this, and I'll see you back when this is done. I am back, and my pear upside down cake is done. It did cook for just a little over 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and 3 minutes. And I did check it with the skewer to make sure that everything was done. So just stick it in a couple of places, and when it comes out clean, you know that it's done. So now we want to let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want to let it sit any longer, because that caramel that you made with that brown sugar and the butter on the bottom will stick to everything if you don't start getting it out of there. So you just want to just let it cool. Mine's been sitting here for about 10 minutes now. And I'm just going to take a knife and just run it around the outside just to make sure that we break it loose from the outside, because when I release this springform, we definitely don't want that to stick to the sides. And by letting it rest for 5 or 10 minutes like that, it'll kind of contract on itself. You can see here on the side of mine where it's pulling away from the sides. That's what you want it to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and release the springform on this now. There we go, that come out of there very nicely. I'm going to put this into the sink, and I'll be right back. Now I want to turn this out onto my serving dish that I've got here. I've got a cake stand that I'm going to put this on. So I'm going to take my cake stand, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I can see through the bottom of this one where it's laying at, and I'm just going to take it and flip it over back on its base. I'm going to take a knife, and I'm just going to run it along the side here and just lift up on this. I want to make sure that we get that out of there, and that paper is going to help that release too. So if you can get it kind of stuck up under the edge of it, That'll kind of help it lift it along. All right, I went and grabbed a piece of paper because I didn't want to burn myself on that, and I've got that stuck up under there now. And I'm going to grab that bottom of that pan and pull that up just like that. And then you can take that same knife and you can take it and get that paper out of there. That's why that paper is such a necessity to have it in the bottom of that pan, and just raise it around and lift it up just like that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Those designs that we put in there from those pears, that looks absolutely delicious. It smells so good, but we can't cut into it now. We've got to wait. You need to wait for this to cool down to room temperature before you cut into it. See all the steam coming out of it now? Let it cool down to room temperature. Give it 2 or 3 hours. I know it's going to be hard to do because it smells absolutely delicious. I can't wait to cut into this, but I'm going to have patience and wait for it to continue to set up. Let it cool down to room temperature, and we'll come back and we'll get that taste test. I'll see you in a few. I am back. I've got me a slice of my pear upside down cake, and I wanted to show you what this looked like on the side here once I got it cut. We've got that nice crumb from that cake on the side there. We've got those nice slices of that pear. I'm going to turn it around here so you can see this side. We've got those really nice slices of those pears on the top. That looks really good. We've got that caramel in those holes on the top. Let's give this a taste and see what this tastes like. Only thing missing on this, you might want to add maybe some whipped cream, or you might want to add some ice cream to it. All depends on it, or just have it just like I'm having it right here. And look how soft and tender that pear is. It cut right into where that is really done. Let's give this a taste. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely delicious. And remember that walnuts that we made for that walnut flour earlier and those pears, and it's just the right amount of sugar in these that makes this really a decadent dessert. I'm going to have me another piece of it. And if you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, maybe you might want to check out one of these other 2 videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I want to hear from you what you think about this recipe. And I'll see you in my next video. I'm going to eat this, and I better put the rest of it away, or I might finish it all off tonight. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.